You mentioned NATO. Like, what kind of implications are going on there now? You've also mentioned that the Poles and the Lithuanians are kind of fired up to take this fight, but nobody else is at this point. You also mentioned the cruise missiles, and in a desperate Zelensky's hands, firing those into Russia could be his last-ditch move. And if you do that, Russia has to respond, and then everything gets escalated and gets more and more dangerous.
Well, first of all, the Russians will not use a nuclear weapon unless someone uses a nuclear weapon against them.
Explain that, because you said that's a sign of weakness to use the nuclear weapon, and they're not in a weak position.
Right. I mean, there's no reason for them to use a nuclear weapon. They have right now the advantage of overwhelming high-end conventional combat capability. The reason Ukraine still has forces fighting is because the Russians have not decided to attack and annihilate them. That's the thing that will likely happen if these cruise missiles that were promised to Zelensky fall into his hands. His regime is so desperate that they will attack targets inside Russia. Now, I'm sure the Russians will shoot down most of them, maybe only half of them. Who knows? How many cruise missiles have to hit Moscow or Belgrade or Rostov or any other Russian cities before somebody says to President Putin, why haven't you stopped this? And then it's over. Absolutely, it will end. As I said, you've got hundreds of thousands of troops in reserve. They're brilliantly equipped. They're very well trained now. You're not talking about the U.S. Army National Guard or the militia or the Saturday night soldiers that people used to joke about in Great Britain. These people are trained. They've been in the military. They're not foreign to it. Now they're assimilated. They're ready to go. So I think that would happen and that would escalate. Now, the question is, what do we do? And that's the question that has always plagued Putin, because Putin, again, doesn't want a long-term state of war with the West. China doesn't either. China wants to extend this one belt, one road all the way to Europe. As long as Ukraine is disintegrating and in chaos, it can't do it. Everybody wants to get back to that on the other side. I think there are Europeans who are privately saying, look, this is crazy. We've got to get back to normal too. We can't go on much longer. You know, you see demonstrations in Bulgaria, in Moldova, in Romania, all against this notion of war with Russia over Ukraine. It's not because they hate Ukrainians or love Ukrainians or hate Russians or love Russians. They want to get back to normal. They want this to be over. I think if I look at the polls right now, in Poland, I think it's roughly 52% have expressed a desire to avoid war with Russia. Now, I don't know where their government is because the government seems to be disconnected from that viewpoint. And you're right. The Poles and Lithuanians could field a force, I don't know what size it would be, that could conceivably intervene in Western Ukraine. And I've tried to tell them when they've asked me, I've had people call from Poland and say, what do you think will happen? And I said, well, even though your governments stand up and say, we're doing this on our own, this is not a NATO event, the Russians are going to say, this is a Trojan horse for NATO. These people are in NATO. And so, again, when the alliance expanded, there were voices inside NATO that said, you know, Eastern Europe is a different place. There are people there with agendas because the outcome of the war did not suit them. I mean, Poland and Lithuania used to be great powers. They controlled vast strips of territory. Romania lost territory. Hungary lost territory. I mean, the World War I was bad. World War II was worse. So you have all these anti-status quo powers that join NATO. And then what do they want to do? They want to leverage us, the United States and its allies, to pursue their agenda. This is wag the dog on an international scale. It's crazy. We have no interest in restoring the Polish-Lithuanian Empire that existed from 1459 until 1794. At least I don't see anybody willing to suit up in Great Britain or Germany or France. Let's go rebuild it. These people want to do that. That's their privilege. They should get out of the alliance, leave NATO, fly to Moscow. I mean, frankly, Putin knows his history well. He has spoken publicly and said repeatedly, we know that the people in Western Ukraine do not want to be ruled by us. We don't want to rule them. That's not the issue. And then he said they'd probably be happier with the Poles. Well, maybe, maybe not. There's not a perfect history of harmony and love there between the Poles and Ukrainians either. But he understands. But right now, that's not the issue. For him, the issue is if Ukraine becomes a member of NATO, I've got a permanent enemy camp right across the street on my border. I've got missiles minutes away from all my major cities and my military capabilities and my deterrent. That's unacceptable.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.